GSL Season 1.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for waiting. We're going to go into our next best of three now. Rogue versus Maru. Cure versus Classic was a delight. Cure with two very different wins. Absolutely outclassing Classic.
Yeah, Cure looked very good. He's always been a little bit of a trickster in TVP, and he always just understands the game so well, whether it's him doing an experimental build that we might not see very often, or doing a variant of a popular build and finding some quirkiness to leverage into a victory, or just as we saw in game number 2, just waiting until the perfect time to strike against a Classic that was on, what, like 10 bases? I mean,
yeah,
it looked absurd watching the game, but the way that Cure plays it makes so much sense. Oh, that was just a treat. I'm excited to watch him play in the winners match because he's going to be going up against either Rogue or Maru.
What does it say behind him? Healing
esports?
Oh, I wish someone would do that.
Maybe.
We really need it now more than ever. Healing.
It does look like it could be esports.
Yeah, there could be an E in front of the sports. There's no way that thing heals esports, though, right?
I mean, who knows, man?
Who
Rogue's
knows?
been powering up. Maybe it's
That's
his
one of those
fitness
things
routine.
you do the dips, you do the, what is it called when you lift your knees up?
Oh, it's like a leg raise, yeah.
Leg raises.
That's good for the abdominals.
Yeah.
I never do those. My abdominals are putrid. Non-existent.
Also a hanger for his sweatshirt. It's going to be Rogue versus Maru, guys. This is going to be so sick. Let's take a look at Maru's room. I like the diffuser on the top over there on the left.
Oh, yeah.
The room smell nice and clean.
I've gotten those in the past, and I feel like they diffuse after 1 or 2 weeks, and then they just sit empty on your shelf for months.
Well, it's because you got to change out the little sticks you put in there.
It's not the sticks, though. The sticks are in a liquid, and the liquid is what's diffused through the sticks. Typically, right?
I believe so. I don't know.
I feel like those things
I'll tell you who knows, though. Maru does.
I would hope so. He's got
He
one on
knows how to use it.
He's got one on his shelf. But,
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, I hate those things. They run out so fast. It's like walking down the perfume aisle at, like, any department store. It just makes me sick. I hate those
I like
smells.
going down the perfume aisle.
I hate those smells so much. I got a headache. I couldn't imagine working there. Anyway, folks, that's our analysis for Rogue versus
All right,
Maru.
that's how we've got. That's the yin and yang of tasteless and stayed. Is one guy likes the smell of cologne and perfume, the other one doesn't know how diffusers works.
Gym equipment versus aromatic diffusers.
That's right.
Best of 3 here in the Ro.8 Group A. Rogue versus Maru. The winner's going to go on to face Cure here in the winners match. Let's go on to Winter Madness here for map number 1.
Okay. Rogue top left, Maru bottom right. Maru sent. Wait, I gotta stop jumping the gun. Okay, he is sending. Wait, could he just maybe get a depot though?
Oh, it's a Bjornwall.
Don't you love it when I just, I scramble to figure out what's happening instead of just kind of explain this smoothly? I'm like, wait, no, is he? Oh no, hold on, I was right. Oh no, okay, he's gonna make a wall there.
I feel like we've had so many proxy barracks.
Well,
so far in this
you get
GSL,
enough of these, and it's like the effect is Pavlovian.
Yeah.
I immediately start to overreact to it.
Heart rate starts rising.
Yeah, my mouth starts watering, It's
going to be Maru playing a pretty classical build here. We unpopularized this, I want to say a couple of years ago now. I still remember him being interviewed in the GSL when he was the only player that was going for this low ground wall-in. And people were saying, like, you're the only player that does this. You've done it for a couple of seasons now. Why do you think nobody else is copying this strategy? Because you're finding some success with it. Is it weak? And he's like, no, this is the right way to play. Eventually, everyone's going to catch on, and we'll see this build all the time. Well,
now
we finally did.
So Rogue's played a lot more of a action-packed TVZ here. He does seem to be, I'm sorry, ZVT here. He does seem to be more interested in trying to really find a way to close the game out. Maru, I think, made exhaust play more famous than any other single Terran or combination of Terrans you could give. Like, he was the guy that's like, actually, sometimes you just kind of, if you can't kill them by like the 5th base, you just sort of grow and defend and take your trades and then take the last base and they run out, which makes for pretty much the longest StarCraft games we can have. There are some exceptions where PvZ gets crazy long. but let's see what happens. Maru went for the Reaper opening. Now, we've seen games where people get a decent number of Reapers. We've seen games where people get up to 3.
Yeah, I wonder which approach this will be here from Maru, because Rogue doesn't strike me as one of those Zergs. I say this, and he is sending a drone out right now, but he's been playing some more 2-base heavy openings lately. He doesn't go for that third hatch all the time super quickly, but this time, getting the drone in position, he will be going for that third hatchery as the Reaper is going to try and cause some trouble here in the natural expansion of Zerg, but Rogue with some nice micro, evenly spreading the damage across all those lings. Oh, didn't quite have enough minerals to throw down the hatchery there at the third base, so the drone, where is it going to go off to? How funny would it be if he just hit a base in the bottom left corner of the map?
Well, we have seen an increase in hidden bases in some StarCraft 2 tournaments. We didn't see them almost ever for a while, but I think, you know, people start to catch on. Sometimes they're in an uncomfortable position. It's like, honestly, probably hiding a base might be the way to go.
Maru behind this going for 3 CCs. Goes down in the third command center in the main base at the ramp. Factory getting started here for Terran, so slowly working his way up the tech ladder, and this drone's coming all the way back now to the third base to eventually throw down a hatchery.
Okay, it's going to be the starport next here, and a layer tech here as the third base is being taken as well. And it's probably going to be a little bit slow for a while. I don't think either side can really attack into each other or do a whole lot. We do have the Hellions coming out, so he'll probably get enough of those and try to come in and take out any creep tumors he can find, and maybe you know, do a dive on some drones if he thinks it's the right idea.
The Hellions pair very well with the Reapers, 2 speedy units that do at about the same rate. Able to exert a lot of map control early on for Terran. Got a couple of drones here and there. Keep the creep spread under control as well. Smart's going to continue to build up back on his side of the map. We did see quite a few mech games from Maru recently versus Rogue, but I think whenever you go for anything like a 2 barracks opening with Reapers, it is just a little bit too much investment into bio. We're not going to see that here in game number 1, but could potentially be in the cards for a game 2 or game 3. And for now, Rogue, he's on his side of the map, just continuing to power up on 2 bases. He's up to full 2 base saturation now. He's going for a Spire quickly behind this relatively fast lair. I think this plays pretty well against what Maru is going for.
Okay, he's going to come up here for a little poke. We have that Banshee Cloak coming out here now. Let's see how good the deflecting is going to be from Rogue. And we've got, you know, the Spire, the Baneling's Nest, and a lot more Lings coming out here. So Rogue's going for that classic battle style TVZ, looking for a fight on the map. The Hellions are going to come forward here. The damage distribution's been pretty even right now, although Maru's going to try to target that one Queen on the side. The Lings coming here to tank, but only for a moment.
More Lings reinforcing right now. Queen's trying to retreat back to safety.
Rogue is so good, by the way, at just kind of balancing this HP and still not losing any drones. The Queen's now going to damage this Banshee. Cloak's almost done, though. There is an Overseer here. A couple more Lings are going to hatch. I got to say, Rogue with, I think, almost literally perfect defense.
Yeah, it's about the bare minimum amount of units Rogue needed to defend.
Yeah.
And it's just exactly what he brought to the table. Able to deflect that attack quite well. And the Hellions right now, they're low enough on HP that I don't think Maru can risk going for a dive on the third base anymore. And so a little bit of the pressure right now is off Rogue. And with the first Mutas also getting onto the field, I think these Banshees are going to struggle to find any damage at all. I say that, and Maru still finds his way to just will 3 drone kills. I do like him spotting the Spire and then immediately deciding just to trade out the Banshee.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well. You're like, this isn't going to have any purpose for much longer here. You know, when you see Rogue defend like that, I think some people might go, well, I mean, it seems like he barely held it off, though, right? Well, that's kind of the point, is you want to get as many drones out as possible while just having enough to hold off their attack. That means they're going to be in a better position later on. So that's very, very different than, let's say, him shutting that down, but then having, you know, 15 drones less because it's all Lings or, you know, more Queens and stuff like that.
Yeah, but Rogue has been investing a lot of resources specifically into Lings and Mutas. You would think that he might be trying to leverage that defense, that almost bare-bones defense, into building up a bigger economy, but instead for him, the priority seems to be getting as many Mutas out on the field as possible. Keep in mind, Maru, he did go for 2 Rex Reaper. Those are not Marines. They do not shoot up. And then he went into Reactor Hellions, which also do not shoot up. And so there isn't a lot of anti-air here for Maru right now. He has to rely on turrets and a main base and the third base here. and I think also the natural expansion. And with a small number of Marines like this, I mean, I think this is literally all of the Marines that Maru's got on the map. If Ro can get on top of them with the Zerglings, suddenly there's no more anti-air.
Okay, he's doing a great job, and when you take these Marines out, yeah, as you were saying, State, these mutas suddenly look a lot stronger. He's picked up some of them. He's on the run now, but these mutas are going to reign supreme right over this production area here at the entrance. The Ling's going to go into the main. He can take even more Marines out here if they come out of that barracks.
This is a huge problem for Maru. The Marine count very low right now as Rogue's been able to find the trades that he wants. Able to pick up some add-ons here, the natural expansion. Only 5 SCVs get taken out up to this point, but there's more mutas than Marines right now. We have 18 mutas to 14 Marines, which is just ludicrous.
Yeah, and he's going to get even more. He's getting an air attack for the mutas. That's about halfway done. Going for the E-base. These are not upgrading, but they're certainly not going to be upgrading later if they're killed off. And Maru, I got to say, he's been so destabilized. He's going to basically abandon really defending his base and instead go for a counterpunch. This counterpunch has to do real damage, if not kill the Zerg, or I don't think he's going to be viable in this game at all.
1-1 is now done for those Marines as well as combat shields, so they're going to be much more formidable versus those mutas, but there's still so many mutas. Banelings now in production. More Lings getting produced. This is a tough position for Maru to push into, right between all the reinforcements from the main base, the natural expansion, and the third. With Baneling speed done and Flyer Attack level 1 about to finish, I'm really liking Rogue's position. You just see how many Marines are getting picked off by mutas. And it's not even a trade. Rogue just keeps taking wins, and now he's going to push in. Mutas focus fire down. The Siege tank, the Banelings find the connections with the Marines on top. Does Maru have enough Marines left to continue to push through, though? For Rogue, most of the firepower, it's in the sky. We have 19 mutas, 7 Banelings, hardly any Lings at all on the map. It's all about the mutas right now for Rogue.
Yeah. I love the turrets here. It's kind of a cool way to at least give you something to try to fight these mutas. The problem is the mutas basically escort the Banes in. Oh, hold on a second. He's got a decent amount after that. I thought that did a little bit more damage than it actually did. He's going to go for the hatchery. The hatchery's going to go down.
This is a wild composition that Rogue is playing. It is so muta heavy, but now Maru with basically a pure Marine composition pushing into natural expansion. I'm not sure Rogue has enough on the ground to actually deal with this. He's going to pull the drones, but 1-1 Marines are just going to chew right through those.
Oh, you could see Rogue shake his head for a second. He says, oh, this is not quite working out. I don't know if there's Banes under there. I can't quite see.
1 or 2.
Now, again, the mutas, they're getting thinned out, but ultimately Rogue wins. The question, though, is that what do you have left over after this? He's down 2 bases to Maru's 3. You would think that you would be able to just produce your way through this as Maru and just continue the just continue to rally forces. And, from there, it's not even just about 2 bases being down, it's 2 production facilities for Zerg is gone. I think Maru's going to win this game.
And Maru has pivoted his army composition so well. First, those missile turrets anchoring the push. How often you see missile turrets put at the base of the Zerg's natural ramp to try and assist a push? Hardly ever. Stop siege tank production, instead goes into reactor widow mines. Everything that Maru is doing now is focused on one goal, and that is to deal with the mutas. We even have Thors in production here for Maru. He knows this is the one risk. And those Banelings are going to find the best possible shots. They want to get a really good connection on another group of Marines.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is Maru is just getting bigger and bigger as far as army supply. It's 88 to 52. And there's a point where you're going to have so much on screen that, it doesn't matter how many Banelings you have. By the way, he only has 2 Banelings. So, I mean, this is not a moment where Ling Muta can overwhelm. Small groups of Marines, you can do that too.
A big army like this one set up, it's hard to take the fight here as Rogue. With the few Banelings he has, he gets really good connections on those Marines, but still, for Rogue, it's almost pure Mutalisk right now, and those Widow Mines make it near impossible to dive in and try and get the trades that he wants.
GG. Wow, beautifully done.
That was an awesome game.
I love that game. I'm totally inspired by Maru's play there. I mean, first of all, Rogue was beastly in that early attack. I mean, the way he handled that, and he knew exactly where to hit, which was the Terran's weakness and the fact that he was low in Marines. But the fact that you saw a counter push from Maru, and by the way, the 3-turret setup was so sick. It was such like a good, I mean, it just enough to where that you couldn't really get in deep with the mutas. And then he just sprayed down with damage, taking out 2 bases. I'm totally awestruck by Maru.
That was just an incredible game. Like there's so much to unpack there. From Rogue, I think identifying that Maru's going for 2 ranks Reaper into Hellions, which means he has very little anti-air. And then I think that was probably the cue for him to go into what was basically a pure Muta army, which how often do we see that in StarCraft 2, especially in ZVT? Hardly ever. We had more Mutas than Marines for minutes in that match, which you never see in a ZVT. So that just out of the box thinking from Rogue, as you said, very inspiring, but also coming in from Maru to kind of react on a dime to the style that Rogue was doing, to switch out of siege tanks to go into Widow Mines, to add in the turrets at the timing that he did, and then to identify a very unintuitive timing window to push out with Marines and proxy turrets to anchor the push.
Yeah.
How many players would think of a push like that one in that moment with Rogue pressuring them with Vitalisks? Just a wild game 1 to this series. Folks, we're going to go into game number 2 now. 10,000 feet. I'm giddy with that first match, man. That was electric.
Yeah, that was such a great game. That was one of my favorite games, honestly. And I've had a lot of great games I've casted so far this year, but that was really like just so impressive what he did. Okay. So Maru going to go depot over here on the expansion. And it's going to be Rogue here with Hatchery first. You know, it's interesting. Maru just has this instinct in games that, you know, like, for instance, that game that we saw back there, that's like, a pretty advanced way to win, to basically kill off enough of the Marines that the Mutas can then do so much damage in so many different ways and the Terrans destabilized. That's a pretty advanced tactical win. And that's not one he planned from the start. He kind of looked at the situation and went, oh, okay, hold on. I see the weak point. Let me rip this apart. And then I should have a setup here where I can probably maybe force like his third base to lift or kill off SCVs in the main or something like that. But to see Maru in a bad position like that and identify, you know what? He's going to give me a lot of hits inside my main. I'm going to take a lot of damage here. Let's just walk across the map. And let's send 3 SCVs, because I've identified that his strength is to have a Muta-heavy army. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have 3 turrets built when I'm pushing this. And by the time the Mutas get back, you can't really use what was your initial strength back at home when you were harassing their base. Now you can't deal with the army that initially wouldn't have been able to fight Mutas alone. Now it's got turret backup. Now you can kite all the way back into that and kill off the Banelings. That's a crazy impressive victory from him.
Yeah, on both sides.
Yeah.
It was just a very intelligent approach to the game. First from Rogue, going with that stylistic response to what Maru's opening was, and then Maru, as you said, the speed with which he pivoted his game plan based on what Rogue was doing, just jaw-dropping. You love to see it from Maru. And now we have a little bit of a mix-up here in game number 2. Maru went for the low ground barracks. Also, wow, able to isolate this drone, forces the Spore Call to be thrown down, causing a little bit more disruption than you would typically see. Might even get this drone. Oh!
Dude, nice.
Maru getting some good damage done. Nearly got 2 drones. Will, in fact, get 1. You hardly ever see the first Reaper get a drone kill early in the stage like this one, but to get a drone kill, it also forced 2 Spore Crawlers to get thrown down and then canceled. Pretty big here for Maru. And behind this, there's... Oh, we missed this. There are some Zerglings in Maru's base.
Oh, was there a worker kill?
There might have been one. I think the... What's it called? The little side info bar thing pops up if you have 2 kills. So 1 SCV in total is going to fall. A couple of lings. So Rogue getting a little bit of tit for tat in there. But yeah, that's partly because Maru went for this mix-up. He went for the low-ground barracks, but it was just 1 barracks, instead opting to get a very fast factory on the low ground. It'll be reactored Hellions here from Maru.
So the Hellion and Reaper are going to be on the outside here. Just seeing if there's any opportunities to get in. We should have the 3rd hatchery starting soon, because we don't have any kind of weird tech or rushes coming.
It's Rogue once again going for the very fast lair.
Lair and 10lings, so maybe we will have something weird here. We got to see.
Yeah, Rogue really likes these openings with the fast lair, and I wonder if this Hellion's kind of timing is going to catch him off guard.
My God. Well, they're going to get right in here, kind of threading the needle in between the 2 groups of queens.
Really good spread on the drones right now by Rogue.
Yeah, only 5 kills.
Given how out of position Rogue was, I feel like a lot more drones should have gone down. On paper, this is still a very good trade for Maru, taking out 5 drones, but that could have been so much worse for Rogue.
Okay, it is going to be a Roach run. I was just saying he's not going to do a weird rush, and I was wrong. So the layer's going to finish up here. There it is, the third base finally. The drop is going to come here towards the main.
Barely gets spotted there by the Overlord, so Rogue is aware of this. With the layer done, I wonder if we're going to have dramatic carapace research for these queens to move across map instead. For now, Rogue has been focusing on trying to deal with these Hellions. Maru trying to find some more damage, get some pretty good shots in, able to take down 4 more drones. So in total, 10 drones have fallen so far in this game. No Overlord speed upgrade yet for Rogue. Instead, mostly going to be the Roaches, I think. And he has a couple ways he can go about this. He can try and just drone up and use the Roaches defensively, or he could just try and make as many Roaches as possible and really punish Maru for investing so much into these Hellions early. And he's also identifying very quickly, this is going to be mech.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is a great moment to catch mech. You know, I think that unless we ever get into a Bizarro world where mech really is the default, and Marine tank play is kind of like the crazy out of the box, the one that makes Artosis go, wow, you know, that style of play. I think always getting in there with an Overseer and just seeing all the factories make is nice. Because that means you literally have as much time as possible to think about how you're going to respond to this. And you're not in some weird tech trajectory that might not be helpful.
So Rogue is going to know exactly what is coming his way. And having that kind of information, as you said, just makes things so much easier here on the Zerg side. And for now, it seems like Rogue, his response to this is going to be largely just a lot of Roaches. And I wonder if this is him honing in on just trying to deny the third base from Maru for as long as possible, because I don't really see him breaking Terran with this push, right?
Well, you know, it's hard to say. I mean, one thing to remember is that, like I was about to say, there aren't any tanks here to defend. Usually that's kind of how the Ravagers do their damage, but he is making 2 tanks here. The mines are doing nothing. So, I mean, I'll tell you what, too, these add-ons on the outside, it's going to be pretty uncomfortable trying to protect this. He is going to go for that tech lab. There's a tank on the outside. I almost feel like he should unsiege and back that up, just because the Ravagers can run up there and hit that.
I think he might be doing that right now.
Yeah, okay, he's going to go for it. So, you know, the factories are really paying the price here. By the way, 14 lings are being made, so he's planning on coming through here and actually attacking once this entrance is busted down. Now, the Biles cannot quite hit the tank, so he has to basically focus fire this. This is where you see the rotation of like SCVs repairing, Biles coming down, then the SCVs dodge, and this back and forth continues on.
Yeah, Maru, during all of this, dropped a scan on the third base location of Rogue to check the drone count there, and he sees that it's not fully saturated, but he is on 59 drones in total. So it's a pretty healthy economy here behind Rogue. He's going to try and get as much damage done as possible, but I think that scan is a large part of why we see Maru now trying to secure this third orbital.
Okay, he's going to come in again. This time he's going to get the tank on the edge. Rogue looking pretty fearsome, but he hasn't really gotten in there and breached this just yet. An SCV is going to come in here to repair. Oh my God, there's a Liberator in here. Liberator over here, denying the mining of that.
That's a big disruption to Rogue's economy right now. Infestation Pit, I think, just finished up.
And look at this, Maru's just going to slide right out and take a third.
Swarm Host tasteless. I thought we might see a hive here from Rogue. He's going for 9 Swarm Host. He's making even more.
I love this.
I think this pairs really well with all the Ravagers he still is on the field, too.
Yeah, he can definitely hit the third base from afar here, right? I mean, the only way to fight Swarm Host with mech is to push it.
Yeah, and one of the things that makes it troublesome for the Swarm Host player, too, is when mech reaches a critical mass, it can kind of deflect all the pushes quite easily. But when you do the move out that Rogue did with the Roaches, the Ravagers, and the Lings, I think at this point, there's been enough attrition on Maru's side of the map that he's going to have a hard time dealing with this first wave of Swarm Hosts. I mean, 12 Swarm Hosts, that's going to be so many Locusts.
Okay. The first wave's going to hit here. Oh, wait, did he just scan that?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, so
Rogue walked into it, too. He's not shy.
Yeah. Now, how much does he actually have to fight this? He's going to try to have both of these come in at the same time.
Locust going to land here on top of the siege tanks. That should allow the Ravagers to get up and try and drop Biles down on them. Those Biles can take on 2 siege tanks at least.
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Oh, Rogue.
That was sick.
What a build coming in from Rogue. The pressure with Roach, Ravager, Ling, just to make sure that Maru's never going to reach critical mass, and then a huge switch into Swarm Host. Effectively a Swarm Host timing attack. Whenever we see Swarm Host typically in StarCraft 2, it's something that is used to try and slowly break down the defending player, or it's something that's kind of a Hail Mary play where the Zerg has run out all other options and they're just trying to make something work aggressively.
Yeah.
This felt so well crafted from Rogue. It was basically a kill move. I mean, the Locusts were the perfect meat shield there.
These guys make for such great games between these two. But I thought the Swarm Host was genius. I don't know why. It didn't even occur to me he could do that in that moment. Because a lot of times you say, okay, like the Liberator caused a problem, and then they got to run back and defend that, and now that time has kind of passed, right? Terran's going to get a third base. They're going to be dealing with mech, and your Roach Ravager is going to be terrible against this. But instead, he just combos it. He combos it, and it goes so well because it's right as a Terran takes that third base, so he's actually opened the position up for him.
All right, game number 3 between Rogue and Maru now on Old Republic. Rogue spawning in the top right, Maru spawning in the bottom left. And this has been my favorite series of the GSL so far this year. I mean, game 1
These
and
games
game
have been
2.
so good.
It's just off meta enough to be completely novel,
Yeah.
The adjustments these players are making, and I'm sure for Rogue, he mentioned this in the first week of GSL this year. He said that he loves this format tournament because it allows him to prepare specific builds, specific strategies, specific approaches for each of the different opponents that he has in his groups. And he's come through with some really crafty stuff. I mean, almost a pure Muta army in game number 1, which Maru barely broke through to take the win. And then in game number 2, the Roach Ravager timing attack paired with the Swarm Host transition, something almost completely offbeat, which in one fell swoop is able to dislodge Maru from the third base and shoo him out of the game. You almost never see that with Swarm Host builds in StarCraft 2. And so Rogue is just coming to this series with some really novel approaches.
We haven't had that many Swarm Host games.
Yeah, they're
lately.
a little bit out of the meta. They have been for a while.
Or at least I'm not seeing them and casting them, but yeah. This is, I don't know. I'm tickled by how great the series has been so far. And I think it's way too hard to call who's going to take it. Remember, Cure is waiting for the winner of the series, whether that be Rogue or Maru. Going to be a crazy, crazy moment here. This is, of course, a day we're going to decide which 2 players go on into the Final 4. They'll be on opposite sides of the bracket over there.
Final 4 for the offline finals.
Right. Our finals day, by the way, it's round of 4 and finals. So you come down, watch a lot of good StarCraft.
Yeah, that's going to be a great show. I mean, 3 massively long series. And I mean, take a name and throw it at the dartboard with this group. You could take any 2 players out of this group, and I could see any of them making it to the finals and potentially being a champion. I mean, it's just such a group of death that we have today.
Okay. The Reaper, somehow actually he is going to get out of here. So decent scouting there.
Another drone kill too, right? Or was that a Zergling? Might have been a drone.
Might have been a drone.
Maru's been so on point with his Reaper micro so far in the series.
Well, it's funny. Maru was so dominant when Rogue was gone that I think now that Rogue's back, and Rogue is like so tournament viable. He's looking so strong. He's getting stronger, by the way. It feels like by the week when we cast him that it almost feels like it's woken something up inside of Maru. Dude, what?
Gets another drone. Doesn't lose a single Reaper. Now he's going to go into the main base. If he decides to dive on this, which I think he is, he should be able to get 1 or 2 more drones. Nice pull back there by Rogue. But Maru, he doubles down and gets both of them. 3 drones in total, including the one in the natural expansion.
And he keeps the other one alive that can scout and poke around. Layer starting. So, a lot of times when I see the layer on 2 bases, I go, okay, this is a crazy cheese. But let's see if he does the Roach Ravager play again here.
Keep in mind, he also went for a fast layer to go into the Mutalisk play last time. And Maru's made an adjustment from game 1 coming into this one. One of the reasons why I think he was so willing to part with those Reapers and trade them out for drones is that drone barely is able to throw down the hatchery in time, is because there is no Hellion follow-up. He's not trying to use these Reapers for any period of time in the mid-game. He just wants to get early game value out of them. Oh, isolating another drone. It gets another drone.
What is happening? What is happening? This is unheard of in a tournament match.
So many drones have fallen to Reapers in this series. It is crazy. And I think the most that we had produced in a single game, if I'm not mistaken, has been 3. Just Maru is finding so much value out of these Reapers. And I wonder if him going for this transition Oh, I was going to say if it's going to throw Rogue off guard. Look at what Rogue's going for now. It's Hydralisks this early on.
What?
I'm trying to think about how this is going to play out.
Like Ling Hydra bust?
Yeah, maybe, but
at the front?
He's aware that Maru's a Terran and not a Protoss, right?
I don't know. Lurkers? Lurker attack here?
I don't think you can afford Lurkers in the economy that he's got, but maybe Rogue will try.
I don't know. I mean, let's see.
It's...
He's going to get... Thing is, I get it. Yeah, he's Terran, but like, why else would you get the Hydra Den?
It's unique to go into Hydras this fast. I mean, he's getting group spine, so it is going to be a lot of Hydras.
Yeah.
Rogue is such a treat to watch play.
Well, he's just so... His play style is so comprehensive.
And it's so unique.
Yeah, you know, like we have some players that we go, oh, this is that build he does all the time, or like he's winning like he always does with this kind of tech in this phase of the game. But like Rogue's just bringing every brand of Zerg imaginable. You know, he'll come out with something that requires so much understanding, or as an example, so circumstantial. It's not premeditated. It's in fact something you see and you have this weird interaction. And you go, okay, I can do this thing and make it work. And some of this requires so much practice and so much experience. It's crazy to see him doing it here now. So he's getting more Hydras. Now, what Terran's doing is textbook. You go out on the map with 2 medevacs, you get the Marines, you scan, and you clear. And this is really less about now and more about being in a better spot later on in the game. Now, the Hydra reveal is here. And you certainly don't go, that's weird. He must certainly have other units besides Hydras he's making. This is the only tech he's got. So what exactly does Terran want to do here? Because if anybody knows how to handle it, it's Maru.
Now, Rogue behind this is going to be going into an Infestation Pit the moment that he hits 3-base saturation. And looking at the way the build is working out, maybe this is just one of the patterns Rogue can go. I phrase that so poorly. It's one of the patterns that he can take where he can tech up very quickly and also go for such a fast 3-base saturation because he went up to 66 drones on the back of a dozen Hydralisks, and now he's taking a 4th base. In terms of investment, it feels like Rogue hasn't put too much money into Army and has still been able to begin teching up towards high with that Infestation Pit should he decide to go that way, while also really building his economy.
Okay, the Hydras are going to come out again. Now, you know, the interaction that Hydras and Marines have is kind of funny because they're both very brittle. They both attack very fast. And he's going for Infestors. And he is going to go for Lurkers. Okay. So he's going to move back. Again, Hydra's kind of slow off creep.
Yeah, both Hydra upgrades are done now.
Yeah.
Behind this is going for double upgrades as well. This is the window for Maru to try and get some damage done with his superior upgrades. 1-1 already done here for Terran. But you have to be very careful. One Infestor dropping a fungal on this army, and it is dead. Those Hydras will clean everything up.
Oh!
And there it is! There's the fungal on everything! Oh my goodness!
God.
Even the medevac! One of them is going to fall, and that was a freebie for Rogue. That cost him energy and basically nothing else.
Yep. Just wiped it. Terran's going to advance anyways. The strategy, it's been hatched now. He sees what it is. So the question is, how does Maru handle this? I think he wants to have a decent spread with both tanks and Marines.
And Rogue's going to need a lot more links to try and usher this army away. It's hard to push into this position with just Hydras, their glass cannon units. The Siege Tank's getting a lot of damage done. I guess paired with a fungal, again, you're able to take down a lot of these Marines, but you just see the damage these Siege Tanks are able to do. So Maru's going to continue inching forward. 1-1 upgrades now done for Zerg. More Hydras and Lings in production, a couple more Infestors as well, but I think this 4th base has to be evacuated. Rogue's army just doesn't have the tools it needs to deal with Siege Tanks specifically. He needs a lot more Lings.
Yeah, I mean, the problem, though, is there's kind of a reason why we don't see this all the time. Like, it's got some pretty crazy ideas, but, like, Siege Tanks are pretty good. Marines, you know, they're going to heal up pretty nicely. The drones are going to be pulled. I'm not clear on what... There's a couple Lings down here. But this is over 30 drones killed. That's going to be a GG. Okay.
And GG called. Well, Maru, he lost 2 medevacs worth of Marines.
It's still
basically for free and still killed Rogue with a follow-up push not a minute later.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the main weaknesses with the build that Rogue was going for, is that unless you have enough Zerglings to absorb all the damage and force Maru to try and focus fire with every single Hydralisk, it's going to be really tricky to actually take those fights. And you can see Rogue, even when we would get a good fungal in on the Terran army, he couldn't actually capitalize on it because the Hydras just melt to those siege tanks.
Yeah. I mean, I love the tech from Rogue, but again, there's a reason why everybody's not doing that. It's cool when you see the fungal connect and work, but it's very hard. I mean, Marine Tank is so strong with Medivacs. Stim is so good for kiting. Tanks have so much range. Infestor, Hydra, and Link, there's some ideas there, but it seems like you have to execute that perfectly.
Yeah. Well, Rogue, it was an awesome series, but he will be falling to the losers match. Guys, we're going to go to a short break. When we come back, the winners match here in the round of 8.